Good morning and welcome to another exciting week where we talk about businesses all around the world. It is Business 360 and my name is Blyden Okem. In Business 360 today we'll look at the key features in the world of business. According to reports, Nigeria has lost 249 billion naira in July as oil output drops. In Senegal, Senegal's inflation rate slows further to 1.5-year low of 5.7%. And China has cut its one-year LPR rates to a record low of 3.45%. It's been the season of the World Cup. The Spanish women's national team will receive historic 10-cup title. Spain will be taking home a historic prize pool. With FIFA increasing prize money totals throughout the tournament, Spain will receive a $10.5 million payday after defeating England 1-0 in the World Cup final on Sunday. FIFA provided $110 million in bonus money for the 2023 women's tournament, a 260% increase from the 2019 World Cup, was $440 million. The $10 million post is significant for a Spain team in Africa. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke this week. An expanded BRICS will represent a diverse and diverse group of nations. We share a common desire to have a more balanced world order, Ramaphosa said in a televised address to the nation on Sunday. The summit will be attended by United Nations South. The leaders of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, on their agenda. More than 20 formed officially in 2009 to 2010. The bloc's current members represent more than 42%. Still in Africa. A recent study conducted across the African continent embraced 53% use online advertising to enhance brand visibility, while 45% directly sell products and services online. The survey also found that 36% use personal savings to tackle rising costs. This survey, jointly executed by Jopol, Africa 118, and the African Talents Company, took a deep dive into the practices and approaches adopted by SMMEs spanning various industries and countries. In Nigeria, increased oil output by over 4 million barrels in the same month, according to the latest oil production data. Was 37.5 million barrels. It dropped to 33.5 million barrels in July. This shows theft have been blamed severally as the reason for the plunge in Nigeria's oil output. The average cost of Brent, the global benchmark for crude oil, in July 2023 was $80.1 per barrel, according to the data from the World Bank, or 37.6 billion naira to mortgage banks in 2022, according to the audited financial statement of the Apex Bank. The mortgage banks that receive the loans from the CBN include the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, and the Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Company, NMRC. The borrowings listed under the loans and receivable sections of the report showed that NMRC, a public-private refinance mortgage company, borrowed 37 billion naira. The report also showed that 9 million naira was advanced to the FMBN. At the same time, 16 million naira was disbursed of 37.6 billion naira. Seal on the Central Bank's report. The Central Bank of Nigeria's intervention in power, manufacturing and aviation sector has risen to 5.6 trillion naira in 3 years, according to reports. The soft loans were advanced amid the continued and varied challenges facing the key sectors of the 20 and 2022. The report, which showed credit concentration in the various sectors of the economy, indicated that power, aviation, and manufacturing sectors recorded an aggregate of 5.6 trillion naira in loans from the central bank. Still on the central bank, roll out currencies, including new naira notes in 2022. Despite the scarcity of naira that plunged the country in the latter months of 2022, the CBN spent 40.42%, more than the 53.29 billion naira it spent in the preceding year to roll out currencies. According to the Apex Bank recently released financial statement, the CBN spent 29.65 billion naira on currency issue expenses in 2022, a 74.66% increase from the 15.23 billion naira it spent in 2021. Defining currency issue expenses, the bank said currency issue expenses relates to expenses incurred in relation to the printing, processing, distribution, and disposal of currency notes. We'll go on a short break. When we return. Business 360 continues, and we'll look at global economy and economic standings and statistics all around the world. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It is Business 360, and my name is Blyden Kim. Looking at global economic data, we begin with China. The People's Bank of China slashed its one-year loan prime rate, LPR, by 10 basis points to a record low, and it forms the observation in the analysis of indices. Monday's move came after a surprising reduction in both short-term loans rates and the medium-term rate by the central bank last week, as they sought to strike a balance between helping the economy and stemming further falls in the yuan. And China cuts one-year rate to record low of 3.45%. In Thailand, Thailand's GDP growth eases in second quarter. Thailand's gross domestic product expanded 1.8% year-on-year in the second quarter of 2023, coming below market expectations of 3.1% and easing from a downwardly revised 2.6% private consumption in the first quarter, but was partially offset by the slowdown in fixed investments and the contraction in government spending. Net trade also contributed positively to the GDP as exports rose while imports dropped. On the production side, growth slowed for agriculture and non-agriculture as the services sector slowed, while the industry looking at Mauritius' trade deficit, as the deficit narrows in June. Mauritius' trade deficit narrowed to 13.9 billion Mauritian rupee in June 2023 from 18.6 billion Mauritian rupee in the same month of the previous year. Imports plunged by 22.1% to 22.3 billion Mauritian rupee, mainly due to lower purchases of mineral fuels, lubricants, and related minerals at a negative 62%, crude materials, inedible, except fuel at a negative 26.6%, manufactured goods classified chiefly by exports fell by softer 15.9% year-on-year to 8.4 billion Mauritian rupee, pressured by decreased shipments of manufactured. The annual inflation rate in Senegal continued to fall to reach a 1.5-year low of 5.7% in July for several consumer price index categories in June, primarily recreation and culture and food and non-alcoholic beverages. On a monthly basis, consumer prices surged by 2.1% in July, the most in 11 months, after increasing by 1.1% in the prior month. It would be a good time to move to the charts indicating Senegal's inflation rate. The charts this morning. According to statistical data in Senegal, ANSD Senegal gave an outlook on inflation in the country as at October 2020 and a weakness in the currency of the country. But inflation began to slow down to 10.6% in January 2023 and to 9% in April 2023, and currently 5.7% according to July's data in competition for exports. Jim McCall,
world's largest wheat exporters, to fall to the lowest levels. Current prices might not suggest it, but unfavorable weather around the globe and a 40% drop in grain production in the Ukraine from pre-war levels have driven the stocks used among the world's largest wheat exporters to fall to the lowest levels in over a decade. India, which traditionally doesn't import wheat, is currently in talks with Russia, who now dominates the world wheat export market, to import between 3 and 4 million metric tons of grain to plug this year's production shortfall. A big turnaround from the spring of 22 when they were talking about increasing exports to offset lost Ukrainian wheat supplies. The last time it could import up to 9 million metric tons of Russian wheat in attempts to boost reserves and help keep inflation in check. This move will only complicate matters for traditional importers of wheat, as they will now be competing with this non-traditional.
Still talking about the commodities, let's move to the energy market as oil gains on China demand optimism. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude fuel authorities would introduce more policy measures to boost economic growth. Over the weekend, China's central bank urged banks to increase lending in a bid to shore up the economy. Signs of tightening in the physical market also buoyed oil prices, with U.S. crude inventories recording another large drawdown in the latest report, while output cuts from OPEC Plus majors such as Saudi Arabia and Russia continue to be felt. Meanwhile, investors remain cautious policy further to combat inflation. Let's move to the market quickly and see the prices of the energy commodities, and afterwards the metal market and industrial market, as well as agricultural market. The energy market first. The energy market has given stipulated increase, but the volatility level of the market is still low. U.S. crude, the WTI crude, current price is $81 per barrel, gaining 0.618 points. For Brent, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, current price is $85 per barrel, gaining $149 per ton. Let's look at other markets. The metal market. The metal market indicates upward movement for the price of gold, 1.23 points, silver gaining 65 Chinese yuan per ton. Platinum also downward by 1.96 points. Other markets. Industrial market. The price of bitumen has dropped by 5 points this morning, 3,911 Chinese yuan per ton. Cobalt, $US per ton. Aluminium dropping 18.5 points this morning, $2,118 per ton. Now, let's look at the agricultural market. The price of oats is downward by 2.3 points this morning. Wool price, no significant difference in the market, but for oats, current price is $436 per bushel. Sugar price downward, $23 per pound. And sunflower, struggling in the market this morning. Rapeseed also struggling this morning, but a slight gain of 0.5 points this morning. Now to the foreign exchange market. The offshore yuan weakened to around $7.32 this morning, hovering near its lowest level in over 9 months, after the People's Bank of China lowered its one-year loan prime rate by 10 basis points to a record low of 3.45% on August 21st, but kept the first 5-year loan prime rate unchanged at 4.2%. The decision came after China's central bank urged financial institutions over the weekend to increase lending in order to shore up an ailing economy. Elsewhere, the yuan faced pressure as well from a deepening property sector crisis in China involving top developers Country Garden and China Evergrande. The euro-US dollar this morning has shown some struggle for the euro, still struggling within the range of 1.09. The volatility level in the market is quite low this morning, with a 0.35% gain for the pound against the US dollar at a standing of 1.27 point mark. Let's move to the Naira's perspective in the market. The US dollar against the Naira. At the opening of the Friday's market, the euro struggled against the Naira slightly, a negative 0.52 points, 832 Naira equaling 1 euro, and pound to Naira 972 Naira equaling 1 pound, a drop of 4.04 points decline for the pound. Let's quickly move to the paro market and see what the prices are in the paro market comparatively to the international and exchange window. The dollar to naira 870 naira equaling £1 at the buying rate and selling rate 1,140 naira to a pound. The euro to naira 950 naira to a euro at the buying rate and selling rate 920 naira to a euro. Dropping 210 points this morning, a negative 0.81 percentage drop. Current US dollar equaling 1 ether, a drop of 18.4 points, a negative 1.09 percentage decline. Binance similarly facing some deepening this morning with a lower volatility in the market. Here we draw the curtain on today's edition of Business 360. Thank you for watching. My name is Blyden Okem.